You're watching Anime Diet. Watch anime, live anime, be anime.
Glad you guys could all make it. Very exciting stuff. Some world first stuff you guys are about to experience. But as said before, we want to respect everybody's privacy. So I know it's really hard to not, to follow the rules, but no video, no photography. If I see you guys with a camera out, I will personally come and kick your ass. Alright, so first I would like to introduce the man of the story, the brains behind the Goblin Slayer series, Kagyu Kumo Sensei. And our second guest is the SB Creative Corp producer, Seiji Miyazaki. Welcome everybody. So just a quick little recap of the people, if you don't know. Seiji Miyazaki-san, in the middle there, he's the SB Creative Corp producer. He's recently worked on the Goblin Slayer anime series. He's also worked on Is It Wrong to Pick Up Dungeon, Duel's Work Is Never Done, a lot of pretty good recent stuff. And the guest of honor, well that's not me. That's me if you don't know, but I've already done my introduction, so it's fine. This gentleman right here, Kagyu Kumo. I recently got the great honor of interviewing Kagyu Sensei for a video. I don't know how many of you guys saw that. So he's started with inspirations like Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, Conan the Barbarian, all that good stuff. And okay, how many, hands up if you're just kind of here as like a +1 and you don't actually know what Goblin Slayer is about. Okay, I figured as much. There are a few people. So let me, so for all of you guys, let me just quickly, very briefly recap, because 95% of you know what it's about. So it's basically, literally, about a story of a man who only kills goblins. He's not a hero, he's just a guy who kills goblins, and that's it. So these are the main characters, as you can see, very creative names. But they're all great. I had the chance to read the first couple of volumes of the light novel, and it is honestly, the lack of names isn't even an issue because the story's just so intense. But to do a little ad, you guys can get the light novel series. It is available on Bookwalker, so go check that out. And not to mention, if you're not a light novel reader, then there is also a manga version. Including some of the spin-offs. There's 2 spin-off series right there, and that as well is also available on Bookwalker. But basically the reason why we were able to even do a panel and get Kagyu Sensei here is because there's over 2 million copies sold of this. 2 million copies sold worldwide, massive achievement, and because of that massive achievement, we were able to get this. So just to go over some of the nitpicky stuff, in case any of you are interested in that kind of stuff. So anime production is done by White Fox. If you don't know who they did Steins Gate, they did ReZero, they did Mochiusa, a lot of great series. The director, Ozaki Tagaru, he was the director of Shoujo Shumatsu or Girls Last Tour, that came out last year. And the double scriptwriters there, Kurata Hideyuki-san and Kuroda Yosuke-san, they are the screenwriters for Hellsing. Which I think, personally, you know the story of this, I think it's just absolutely perfect that people like that are taking care of this. So that's hype. But we also have the cast of voice characters right here. Just briefly going through. So Umehara Yuichiro, who is Goblin Slayer, he played Goro in Guardian Franks. You know. Ogura Yui-san, she did Tsukiko from Henneko. Toyama Nao-san was Chitoge from Nisekoi. Cowgirl, Iguchi Yuka was Index from the Toaru series. Uchida Maya is Vika from Chunibyo. Nakamura Yuichi is Gray from Fairy Tail. Sugita Tomokazu, I'm sure all of you know. Hikase Yoko is also a big one. She did Mio from K-On! And Matsuoka Yoshitsuki-san, he did Kirito, he did Bell, he did a bunch of great characters. So yeah, it's a full cast. So just for you guys, because you guys did manage to all fit into this tiny little room, we have some new TV anime info, and this is stuff that not even Kagyu Sensei has seen. So this is a first for everybody here. And the White Fox people, like, they pulled in clutch. They brought this stuff like last week. So this is fresh off the table. So first one, we're going to be checking out two things here. First one is key art. So basically, Sensei like, this is going to be the first time for you watching this. What do you feel about the key art reveal that you are also a part of? He's like, I don't think this is how they treat creators. Like, technically speaking, he should be the first one to see this. The fact that they hid it from him until today, until the world premiere, it's a bit strange. But are you excited to check out the key art? It's like, if possible, he wanted to see it a little bit earlier. But here we go. Here is first look at the key art of what the anime will be looking like. You are kind of straining your neck to look up at Alright, but the second big news, which is again a world premiere for you guys and for Sensei, is you guys watched the first promo that came out a few months ago. We have a new TV right here. Absolutely clutched this. They bought this, like, they rushed it to get it out. Well, they didn't rush it, but they worked their ass off to get it out for you guys. So we want to hear a little bit of hype, all right? So who's hyped for this new video? Here we go, guys. Here's the world premiere of the new Goblin Slayer PV. I gotta say, that was also the first time for me watching that. That was pretty hype. But yeah, let's ask the panelists what their thoughts on all this. It's like, my one regret is that I really had to strain my neck to watch it. Like, I probably should have gone over there to watch with you guys. He's like, why is the creator getting treated like this? Oh, okay. Okay, so the reason why Kagyu Sensei hadn't seen it until right now is because the folks over at White Fox actually made this PV for this panel. Like, this hasn't been released in Japan yet. This is the first time that this was released. The PV to make it for you guys for the world premiere. That's why Kagyu Sensei hadn't seen it yet. but I don't think he's happy about that. But let me just go over just very quick comment. We have a comment from the director of the series. So it says, this man is neither blessed with supernatural abilities nor a hero who awakens to his powers. He's a professional fighter who uses the experience he accumulated along the way as his weapon. Goblin Slayer's charm lies in the depiction of realistic and brutal fights that you can't find in any other fantasy story. From the director himself. So, the anime is coming out. October, when this comes out on Japanese TV, it is also going to be streaming legally on some site, I'm not going to say. Yeah, but it will be basically an international release. So the folks in Japan can enjoy it, and you guys can enjoy it as well. Alright, so without further ado, we have some pre-submitted questions here from you guys on Twitter, you guys at AX who asked a bunch of questions. So, we're going to do a Q&A. So, let's go. So, the first question I want to ask, according to this piece of paper, is, what was your initial thoughts when Goblin Slayer was greenlit for an anime adaptation? So it's like, I've always had this feeling ever since my book got published at all, but he's just waiting for that one morning where he wakes up in a hospital bed. It's like, this has to be some kind of fever dream at a hospital. Either that, or he'll wake up in front of his laptop having nothing written, and his friend just going, "There's no Goblin Slayer anime, what are you talking about?" That's awesome. So the next question I got here is, how much will the anime cover from the light of the series, and will all of Goblin Slayer get animated? Oh, okay, it's a secret, it's a secret. It's a secret. Okay, so you can't say it with full detail right now, it's still a secret, but the fact that he has sat in with the director, with every episode, he said, I think you guys will enjoy it. I don't think it'll be any disappointment. Which is good to hear. Alright, so the next question I got here is, since Goblin Slayer is a dark fantasy novel with many extremely gruesome areas, and there are, for those of you who read the light novel or read the manga, how much of it will be censored in the anime? And will it affect the take on the original series of the novels? Because we run into that problem all the time. Okay, so considering that he just watched the new PV with you guys 5 minutes ago, visually he doesn't know yet, but the fact that he has sat down with the screenwriters and everything and seen what parts are going to be covered in the series, he said, I don't think you have to worry about it too much. What you guys saw is what you're going to get. And that PV was pretty violent, so I think we'll be okay, which is good. Alright, so next question I have here is, do you have any fears about how people will react to the anime? Because we can be hypercritical if we want to be.
This is a deep question, I don't like this.
So if anything, he's always worried every time he releases a new volume about what people are going to think. But judging from the reaction that you guys gave just into the PV, I think he's not worrying at all. next question here is you're kind of going back to the roots. So when working with Kannazuki-san or when Kurose-san for the manga, Kannazuki-san is the artist for the Goblin Slayer light novel. Did you have any specific requests on how certain characters looked or how certain events were drawn? So he's like, basically, it's just every time I see what the artist had drawn up for me, I'm just going, yay. It's very easy going. That's nice. All right, so question 6 here. What inspired Goblin Slayer's armor? So, as he said in the previous question, he's leaving all the visual designs to Kannazuki Sensei, but with the image that he brought up himself, that he wanted to see was, if I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, for example, and I was out there killing goblins, what would I want to look like? And that's basically what Goblin Slayer is. Yeah, so that's cool. That's very cool. So with that being said, and this is a question I'm sure you guys want to know the answer to because I want to know the answer to this. Many people think that Goblin Slayer is similar to Dark Souls.
That's
I mean, it's
pose.
kind of good
That's
that, like,
pretty much
Sensei
the
is
praise
aware
the
of
sun.
So,
if you want
with
to,
that being
type
said, were
in,
you
you can.
inspired by Dark Souls? And is there anything in
Um,
particular that is influencing you?
It's a very iconic pose. So if you do it,
For Dark Souls?
yeah, for Dark Souls, most people will catch on what you're trying to do.
Thank you.
No problem.
開発した方が操作に原復の影響を強く受けてらっしゃるらしくて、で自分も操作がすごく大好きなので、多分関係性としては東映の親戚ぐらいなんじゃないかなと思います。
Okay, so when he was first starting to write Goblin Slayer, there wasn't that much of an influence, like early in the stages. But the folks who created Dark Souls from Software, they were inspired by a book called Sorcery, and which happens to also be a huge influence on Kagi Sensei. So it's not so much that he took inspiration from Dark Souls, it's that from Software, the creators of Dark Souls and Kagi Sensei took inspiration from the same thing. So that's probably why it seems kind of familiar. That's cool, that's cool. So, next question, very simple. How long do you plan to make this series? So as long as they let him write, he'll keep writing. Okay, sweet. Well, that's good, I guess. It's not going to be ending anytime soon, which is nice. And with that being said, are there going to be more Goblin Slayer spin-offs? Because we have a few spin-offs on the manga already.
とりあえず次の回転が10年前の剣の乙女さんの冒険の話を今書いてるところです。
Okay, so right now he is currently in the process of writing another spin-off, which is set 10 years before the current events of Goblin Slayer, which is going to cover a bunch of side characters' backstories, and it's going to be, from the sounds of it, it's going to be quite interesting. So he's in the process of making that, so expect another side story coming out. Okay, so this next question is more so about Kagi Sensei as an author rather than a Goblin Slayer, but will you continue writing in the dark fantasy genre, or will you branch out to other genres in your next work?
ダークなファンタジーも書きたいは書きたいんですけど、自分がシャドウランとかサイバーパンクがものすごい好きなので、そういうのをやりたいなと思いますし、あとはヒーローもの好きなので、ヒーローもの
he does want to continue doing dark fantasy stuff, but you know, other than dark fantasy, he has a lot of he loves cyberpunk stuff. He loves, you know, obviously you can tell from his mask he loves his heroes. So he said, if I get the chance, then I'd love to try and attempt all of those different genres, as long as people are willing to support him. So we've heard all of his ambitions, what he wants to do. But this next question is, if you weren't a light novel author, what would you be doing? We're getting personal now.
メガ工房の工作員とかだったらいいですよね。メガ工房、大企業の非合法部署とかいいですよね。
He wants to be an industrial spy. I mean, you know, if you wear that mask, you can probably pull it off, honestly. Alright, that's interesting. Okay, so going more into the personal life of Kagyu Kumo Sensei. You play Dungeons and Dragons. What is your favorite edition?
遊んでるのは第5エディション。
5th edition, okay.
ただ、シャドウランの方は第4弾の構成エディション。
Okay, and Shadowrun, he plays the 4th edition. So, I don't play D&D or Shadowrun, but is anyone here who plays D&D? Is that like, does he have good taste? That's good. I'm glad.
I prefer 3.5, but 5th is good.
Okay, so he likes playing Dungeon Master in D&D as well. I mean, if you think about it, like, that kind of makes sense. He does write stories for a living, so that makes sense. So, next question is very general. What is your favorite fantasy creature?
ハーピーとかケンタウロスの話したいと思うんですけど、あとは、狼男が主人公の話とかですね。
So he really wants to bring out in Goblin Slayer like Harpy and Harpy girls and that kind of stuff. He also does, if he can, want to write a story about werewolf. Oh yeah, so he doesn't know if he's going to release any of that stuff in Goblin Slayer, but it's a possibility. It might happen. So, with that being said, how can you make so many spin-offs and still have time for everything?
とりあえず1本ずつ書き上げていくだけですね。
It's like it's just a simple matter of writing one at a time and just getting it done. でもすごく早いですよね。
最近結構ペースが落ちてるんで。
Because I thought like the pace that he's writing at is like pretty fast for a light novel author. Because usually, you know, light novel authors like to, you know, take their time and stuff like that. But he's writing some like really good stuff really quickly. So like, as someone who can't manage to save their life, I'm pretty jealous of what he can do. So with that said, next question. What is it that drives you or drove you initially to write a story focusing on a man with no grand ambition and only wanting to kill the weakest monster, goblins?
界に置き換えたら、犯罪者を保護にかなという。
Okay, so when it comes to hero stuff, like as you heard earlier, he loves his hero stuff. He loves the vigilante stories. So like the urban superheroes like Batman, you know, he doesn't so much care about like, you know, while Superman is out there saving the entire Earth, Batman is in Gotham fighting crooks. And when he wanted to translate that kind of vigilante aspect into a dark fantasy story, he thought, well, who would the crooks be? Goblins. So yeah, that's basically it. That's very cool.
なので、ゴブリンスレイヤーのスーパーマンで、パートナーがクロスレイヤー。
Okay. So within Goblin Slayer, like the Superman character would be like the RPG like protagonists that are going out there killing, slaying everybody and stuff like that. But the vigilante, the Batman of the series, is the Goblin Slayer. Makes a lot of sense. That's very cool. So with that being said, next question. How would High Elf Archer confess her feelings to Goblin Slayer?
続きを読んでくださいと、あたりで買っていただけたら、
He said, I don't want to be that guy, but you can go into Bookwalker and buy the rest. And I'm sure, like, with any favorite series, we all want to know if the ship will sail. So, that's one way to figure it out. Okay, cool. So with that being said, how did you come up with each of the characters in Goblin Slayer? Like, what were the inspirations for each character?
ダンジョン&ドラゴンズとか、ロールプレイングのキャラクターですね。あとは、いろんな映画とかからの影響を受けているので、その辺いろいろ混ざったりとか。
なんか特にありますか？代表作とか。
映画のですか？映画だったらそうですね。七人の侍がそうだし。
Oh, okay, okay. So he basically, with each character, he got it from all sorts of different movies, books, games, obviously Dungeons and Dragons, as we said earlier. But one of the biggest movie inspirations was, you guys seen Seven Samurai?
Yeah.
So that was his biggest inspiration for a lot of the characters and how they acted. I mean, great choice. Okay, so next question. As a solo magician, what is the best way to fight a goblin champion? He just said a lot of like technical lingo, which I'm not quite sure if I can translate. But H-O-T.
Hot.
Okay, so H-O-T spells and then a fireball to the face. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. So let's
Help.
So would the Goblin Slayer fight a dragon-sized
You know what
goblin
HOT is.
or 1,000? Oh, okay, I think it's a Gujarati. Would the Goblin Slayer rather fight a dragon-sized goblin or 1,000 duck-sized goblins? Who asked this question?
Wow.
He's like, I don't think I need to answer this, but both. I mean, it's the Goblin Slayer. Alright, I'm gonna personally find the person who asked this question. Okay, so next question. Is there any other person out there who is the same as the Goblin Slayer in the story? Or is he the one and only Goblin Slayer? Okay, so in the story there's probably Dragon Slayer, Vampire Slayer, what is that? Oh, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer. でもゴブリンスレイヤーは一人だけさ。So it's like, I'm not sure if like this Goblin Slayer is the only Goblin Slayer in the story, but even if there are other ones in the story, they're probably not going to make it. Let's just focus on one Goblin Slayer. It's called Goblin Slayer, not Goblin Slayers. Yeah, so the Goblin Slayer doesn't want to like, create a posse of goblins. He just wants to be the only Goblin Slayer, so that makes sense. Okay, so this one is, you guys probably saw this line in the PV, but the Goblin Slayer says, very famous line, he doesn't let God roll the dice. Does this mean that he hates the fact that his fate is being controlled control, or can you explain or elaborate on that point if that's not the case?
世界は神様が最高に言ってるので、この視点が間違ってるんですよ。
So he's like, in that world, God is the one controlling everybody, and Einstein is wrong. All right. I mean, that's the best explanation we're probably gonna get. So yeah, God's playing a tabletop RPG. Exactly. He's rolling the dice. So the next question, a bit of a long one. Goblin Slayer still owes the High Elf Archer an adventure without goblins in it. If you guys read the story. So will there be a volume in the future that depicts this adventure where no goblins show up at all, like a normal adventure? And then the end of this question, you obviously got this from Twitter. It says, I don't dislike goblin adventures, by the way. Just curious if we will get a different setting once in a while for the sake of variation. Smiley emoji.
続きをお母さんあたりでいただけたら。
So it's like, I don't want to be that guy again. But, okay, so next question. Does the goblin, and this is, I actually asked this in the interview as well. Does the Goblin Slayer or Priestess have real names? If so, would they be Western names or would they be Japanese names?
まあ、作品に出てくる人に全員名前はありますが、まあ、皆さんが好きに考えてつけてくれてもいいなと思ってるので、まあ、東洋風でも西洋風でも好きにつけていただければ、
Okay.
そういうふうには思ってます。
Okay, so he basically said they do have names, but he thought that by putting the names in, it would kind of defeat the purpose. Because, like, as you know, like he was inspired by tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons, where you're the one who makes the story, right? You're the one who creates the characters. So he wanted to bring that aspect into the light novel by purposely not putting a name in, so that you guys reading the light novel or watching the anime or reading the manga can put in whatever name you want. So basically, it's up to you guys. Do you want him or her to be have a Western name, or do you want it to have a Japanese name? So
His name is now Kyle.
okay, it's official now. It's Kyle the Goblin Slayer. I'm just saying, I personally laughed my ass off if we were like halfway through watching anime and he's like, I'm Kyle. What? Alright. Okay, so, going further into the story again with the next question. For magic users in the story, there are 4 elements. There's Undying, which is the water element, Gnome, the earth element, Salamander, the fire element, and Sylph, the wind element. But in the Goblin Slayer manga, side story U1, the shaman goblins can use lightning type magic, Thunderbolt. Is this a 5th element, or...? That's how the question ends.
別段属性魔法とかっていう世界で魔法ではなくて、ソーサリーのゲームブックを遊んでらっしゃる方には一発でわかる例えなんですけど、まあ、HOT の呪文と ZAP の呪文は同時にありますっていうそういう感じです。
Okay, so he basically said a bunch of stuff about sorcery, which I don't think I can probably translate because I haven't read it personally. But to simplify his answer, he said, don't think about it too hard. Like in sorcery, apparently there are a bunch of like kind of conflicting spells within the same book. So it's basically like that. Like you just don't think about it too hard. Obviously the person who asked this question was a Goblin Slayer elitist. Which I didn't think existed until now. Okay, so next question. Will the Goblin Slayer be able to use magic spells or actions? Okay. Cool. One line, no. He just brute forces that. Alright. Okay, this next... Beat these questions. So, this next question is, does the Dwarf Shaman and High Elf Archer have a love line? he's like, I'm not too sure right now. でも次第にそういう関係を築き上げていくっていう点はありますか？
デモラスとギブリの関係が好きなのでそれでいいです。
Okay, he has his own personal shit that he wants to like make out. But I mean, but see, like that's the great thing about Goblin Slayer is that like you can put your own fantasies into it. You can put your own story into it. So if you wanted to ship the dwarf shaman and the dwarf larger, then you totally can. Yeah. Okay. So he said because one of his other biggest inspirations is Lord of the Rings. So he really likes the relationship between Legolas and Gimli. Is that a sign that this ship might be real? I don't know. Or is it just a coincidence that they both happen to be a dwarf and an archer? Okay, but with that being said, we're sticking to the ship questions right now. Will the Goblin Slayer ever end up in a romantic relationship with the cowgirl? Okay. So next question. I think this is, so this is from inside the story. How do towns defend themselves from the dangers outside? Is there a militia for each town, or do civilians get drafted into the army?
文化は存在してますけど、そうですね、剣を持ったりする役目は冒険者がいるので、わからない人は多分、7人の侍とか荒野の一緒にしてください。
So basically you're saying yes, there is an army that exists, there's like a militia for each town that does defend it, but most of the defending for each town comes from the adventurers that are actually there, fulfilling quests and stuff like that. But he said if you guys are unfamiliar with that concept, then go watch Seven Samurai. It's essentially the same thing. And I agree. Who's seen Seven Samurai? Okay, you guys have good taste. The rest of you have some homework to do. Okay? Afterwards, go watch Seven Samurai. It's a great movie. It's a classic, absolute classic. Okay. Okay, this question is interesting, and I want to know the answer to. Why not show the face of the Goblin Killer?
No. No.
Slayer. It says killer here, so don't blame me. So why is the Goblin Slayer's face hidden? So he said, if you play Dungeons and Dragons and you're in that scenario where you get attacked all of a sudden while you're in a town, it's kind of like that situation where it's like he's always constantly on guard. Because if you guys have read it, like he's that kind of character, right? He's like, just no F's given, like I don't care, I'm constantly on edge. Yeah, well, exactly. You think so, but. Yeah, so he had some pretty messed up stuff happen to him in the past, so that's his way of hiding his depression, I guess. Okay, so we have a few more questions here. This one's a bit of a long one, ending with a smiley emoji again. So he says, I enjoyed the adventures of Goblin Slayer with Spearman and Heavy Swordsman a lot when they were climbing that tower and fighting that wizard in Volume 4. I like the chemistry of three mainly veteran adventurers and the unique banter they had. Is there a chance those three will have a comeback and have an adventure together again? Maybe against an evil witch or dark elf sorceress? Smiley emoji? So he personally likes those stories too, so he'd definitely like to try and create a side story of that if he has the time. I mean, he can bust them out so quickly, so we'll probably get it eventually. Okay. And here's the last question. And whoever asked this question is kind of a genius. Would you consider making a VR game out of Goblin Slayer? So he hasn't gotten the connections or the talk yet from the higher ups, but he's like, yeah, definitely if he has the chance, then he'd love to make it. Like, I'm just imagining what a Goblin Slayer VR game would be like. You just be endlessly killing goblins in VR. That'd be sick. like, if you guys know anybody who can hook him up with that kind of stuff, I don't know. All right, so that was the pre-submitted questions from Twitter. So, the good thing is, guys, that everyone in this room not only gets to watch some world premiere stuff like the PV and the key visuals and stuff like that, but you get to ask a question as well. So, with any Q&A like this, you know, obviously don't dive into his personal stuff too much. You know, respect his privacy, respect everybody's privacy. There's a family-friendly panel. Okay, I don't want to get demonetized. So, Maylene at the front here will have the microphone. So, any of us will just point to you, and if you have a question that you want to ask to anybody on this panel, try and focus on Goblin Slayer because there's a Goblin Slayer panel. And let them know. So, 先生、一人指さしてもらう。You can't say it.
He's just a good nigga.
So, black shirt in the middle. Yep, yep.
As I only read the manga, and I'm gonna pick up the light novel soon. Now on book one, of course. Does Goblin Slayer ever meet the gods, rolling the dice, playing, well, God in the world? And what would his reaction be?
He said he's probably not going to meet them. I mean, considering that, you know, the Goblin Slayer is kind of pissed at the gods, I don't think it'll end up well for the gods. Red shirt in the middle. Yep.
I don't want to reveal too much about like the light novel or stuff. Just, is there a possibility we'll get to see more of the Sword Mistress?
Is there a possibility we'll get to see more of the
Sword Mistress.
Sword
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 Maiden,
Maiden?
yeah, Sword Maiden.
Okay, so previously he mentioned about the new spin-off that he's writing, the one that's set 10 years before the current events. That's going to be focusing on the sword. Thanks for your question. Oh, guy sitting in the aisle there. Right here, right here.
I was wondering if you've done a campaign that actually was like Goblin Slayer, or if you plan on doing a campaign, or if you just have some characters show up as a cameo in your own campaign.
So what was the question?
In his D&D campaigns. If he's had one that was like Goblin Slayer.
The
or,
campaign?
Yeah, the ones he runs.
Oh, D&D campaign. Like a Goblin Slayer expansion pack?
like he's had one that was like the.
Oh, when he was personally playing D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when he was since he was personally playing D&D, was he ever in like a campaign or a situation where he was basically playing as like Goblin Slayer, right? Is what you're asking? Oh, okay. He's thinking really hard right now because he's played a lot of D&D matches. so basically with any like adventure that he creates, it's more likely than not a Goblin Slayer with every campaign he plays. So, yes, is the short answer. Thank you for your question. One wearing a hat. Yeah.
If Goblin Slayer were to cross over into another fantasy world, like an anime world or manga world, what would it be? So like maybe Konosuba. I'm just kidding.
Goblin Slayer.
Too serious.
So he's very open to, if like the idea ever comes up from like outside sources, then he's definitely open to doing like a legit crossover of like other series.
Maybe a Goblin Slayer walking go.
Okay, so he's personal friends with Omori Sensei, who's the author of Danmachi. Yeah, so but like just because they're friends, it doesn't mean like it's a big deal. Adulting is hard. There are a lot of things we have to go through.
Now we're picking up goblins in these
I
stuff.
mean, you know, you never know. Like possibly it might happen. That might be really good. Oh well. Ah, 前の方ですか？ご一緒？ Yeah.
Can the author please sign this guy's helmet?
I didn't realize the Goblin Slayer helmet at the back. Okay. Does anyone have a Sharpie they can borrow?
Yes, I do.
Goblin Slayer face reveal, everybody. That is a pretty sick cosplay though.
Is your name Kyle?
Oh, he wants to take a picture with you. Hold on. So guys, next time you're at an industry panel where an author is there, try and cosplay as the character. And you'll get immediate reaction.
Much like that.
Okay, I think we'll do probably a few more questions. Yeah, a few more questions. Yeah. Okay.
Not more than 10.
One with the drawing. Yeah.
So I was wondering, what was your inspiration for the Rock Eater?
in year one. Okay, so he doesn't know if like the Western name for it is the same as the Japanese name, but there's a movie called Tremors.
What? That's great. That's great. It's a classic, man. That's a classic.
Oh, yeah, right there. Yep.
Yes. If Goblin Slayer was in cyberpunk world, what would his profession be? Yeah. Yeah. If he lived in the cyberpunk world, what would he do?
He'd be the android killer. He'd be a street samurai. Which, not gonna lie, I agree with that. Alright, let's do one more, maybe, name the order.
What's your favorite waifu in and out of Goblin Slayer? In and out. For yourself.
He's like, all the girls are cute, right? I think he's more of a harem builder than a wife. Alright, awesome. Well, that's gonna do it, guys. That's the end of the panel. Thank you very much. Can we get one final applause for Kagi Sensei? Has been as awesome as it should be, and enjoy the last day of AX. Cheers.
Thank you for watching Anime Diet. Be sure to smash that like and subscribe button for more tasty treats.